talking about that stress. We're talking about saving some of these marriages. We're talking about some of these kids that really, really miss their dads and moms and really don't understand why they had to leave.
Will, march. Colors. Halt. Raise and colors. Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave for the land of the free and the home of the brave? March.
I tell stories on my show of Americans with courage, people who exemplify what is great about our country, and I classify the American dream as opportunity. Opportunity is something you define. What will you do with it? What you two did in founding something from essentially nothing but your hearts and your desire to do something good makes you really great Americans.
How do we get to a point where we can make a difference for those that return? The people who raise their children on Skype. When I meet these families, my heart breaks. I've been an itinerant for 20 years. I remember my son asking me many a time, why do you have to go? I do it willingly. I don't put myself in any peril. I come back. But I never had an answer for my boy. But when this call came about, I said, I do have an answer. It's called commitment. And if X number of people just stepped up to the plate, and I want to equate it to baseball, as American as baseball. See, in the game of baseball, every at-bat's not going to be a hit. Every hit's not going to be a home run. But every home run has to be an at-bat and a hit. It is our sacred obligation to keep swinging for these men and women till we find the right formula, till we find the right dosage that allows them to walk tall, stand proud. It is our sacred obligation to find the right mix of, in an airport, walking up to a serviceman and shaking their hand, standing behind them in line at a cafe and saying, I got your back, saluting them as they come, as we do in Dallas every so often when the planes come, and you have these people cheering. But the two motifs I want to paint for you that would be a game plan for today, as you've invested of your time, your talent, and your treasure. The first is decision. 236 years ago yesterday, a decision was made in this great and awesome land. A line was drawn in the sand on the 23rd of March, 1775, at the St. John's Church in Richmond, Virginia. The audience was the House of Burgesses. The occasion was the Second Congress. And a young patriot stood up, and he had had enough. And I'm going to excerpt from his now immortal speech. Should I hold my opinion at a time such as this for fear of giving offense? I would consider myself in treason towards my country and as an act of disloyalty to the majesty of heaven whom I revere above all earthly kings. It is in vain, sir, to extenuate the matter. Gentlemen cry peace, peace, but there is no peace. The war has already begun. The next gale that sweeps in from the north will bring to our ears the clash of resounding arms. Why stand we here idle? Our brethren are already in the field. What is it the gentlemen wish? What would they have? For is life so dear or peace so sweet that it be purchased at the price of the chains of slavery? Forbid it, Almighty God. For I know not what path others might take, but for me give me liberty or give me death. And an entire nation marched forward. Every shot that was heard that allowed this republic to be that shining city on the hill, so immigrants like me in far-off lands could dream of a utopia that is America, began with that moment. And these men and women have paid the ultimate price in far-off lands, shedding their blood in the rice paddies of the South Pacific, being imprisoned for causes that they may not have agreed with, because one day with duty and honor, all of the branches stood and these young men and women said, I will go because I believe. But what happens when they come back? You and I have a decision to make. Are we going to draw a line in the sand? See, I'm not political. I was next to a veteran on a flight back to Seattle. This kid could have been no more than 21, but he was a vet. He had served and come back. I used to do training for the USAREC battalions. We used to teach them sales training pre-9/11 when it was very hard to hit mission and Bach. So some of these boys, I probably trained the recruiters who got them in. So there is guilt. But when the airline stewardess came down and said, ladies and gentlemen, we have veterans on board, and then she leaned over to this boy and said, today you can drink something stronger because it's on the house. The boy ordered a Diet Coke. I looked at him and said, you've seen unspeakable horror. I don't drink, but if I was you, I'd start. I love his answer. I'm seeing my mama after 18 months. I cannot have liquor on my breath. Some mama raised that boy right. And we have a sacred obligation to that mama, saying, we got your back. We're going to make a decision. We're going to draw a line in the sand. And this shot's going to be heard around the world again. We're going to take care of our own. It's not about the popularity or the unpopularity. It's about the reality. See, don't believe the wrong bill of goods that comes down the pike. We are a superior nation. I chose this country because I believed in its ideals. But somewhere in our desire to abdicate superiority, we have succumbed to mediocrity, and it's time to stop the stupidity. We need to stand up, draw that line in the sand, make a decision. The second is action. Benjamin Franklin said years ago, democracy is 2 lions and a lamb voting on what to have for lunch. Liberty is a well-armed lamb contesting that vote. To which your humble immigrant correspondent would like to add, tyranny is a bunch of rats trying to make the lions and the lambs feel guilty. This nation has always allowed people to either be a lion or a lamb, but it has no place for rats. We need to take a stand, as unpopular as it may seem. I shake the hand of every veteran gloriously, joyously. Even now, when the national anthem is sung in the airport, I still stand. The other day, I got into a fight with my 17-year-old boy who forgot to take his hat off, and I hit it off his head. I love my boy, but that's not cool. He has to see that I bow to an authority. It is time for us to take action. Daniel Webster said it best all those years ago. If we and our posterity reject religious instruction and authority, violate the principles of eternal ethics, trifle on moral injunction, and recklessly destroy the political constitution that upholds us, no man can say how sudden the catastrophe that will overwhelm us and bury all our glory in profound obscurity. America, we have a choice. Take this from me. I've traveled much of the free world. I've flapped my gums in 55 countries on 6 continents. And I've never seen an embassy or a consulate in any of these nations that didn't have a line that says, let me in. On one side, everybody wants to get in. On one side, we have our boys going and fighting wars in the very nations where these people want to come here, who are insulting them, and their primary goal is to obliterate them. How can you do good when evil is staring you in the eye? Then you bring that evil as a package deal. You get off the plane and you come here and you hear rhetoric. And then you hear families that say, why do you have to go? And you have families that say, why do you have to go again and again? One of the families at the Camp Better America, he's on his 5th tour. There's a lot of angst that goes around why he made the decision. But when I look in his eyes, I see someone who says, I'm willing to die for you. That beats at my gut. Because the only thing I can do is wait for him to come back saying, I want to return the salute. Today, let's make a decision. Draw a line in the sand. But more importantly, let's take action and take it back one step at a time. T. Lawrence said, all men dream, but not equally. Those that dream in the dark, dusky recesses of their mind wake by day to find that it was but vanity. But those that dream with their eyes open, pay attention to them, for they will change the world. History has always been replete with heroes. We need to complete our arduous task. As Kimberly and Kathleen both put it, I do this of the goodness of my heart. I do 100 events somewhere around the world. I log close to 200,000 miles a year. I don't need to take another trip to make a speech. That's the last thing I need to do. But I need to have the courage of my own conviction to be able to look at my son in the eyes and say, boy, your dad did something. Today, let's draw that line in the sand. Let's say that there is a better America, regardless of what anybody else says. The good days are still out there, and they will come. And in order for that better America to come, we have to start at a camp where we take the returning warriors, equip them, so we can now stand side by side with them and say, you gave us the opportunity for freedom. The better America we're both going to dream for, we're going to do together. And I'll close like I always do by saying, folks, I've literally traveled the world and the 7 seas. I've been on my highs, many a night I wept on my knees. But of all the people I've spoken to, the most humbled I felt is my time with you. I'm Anila's husband and Nick's dad saying, please do something tonight. God bless you.
To give back to our soldiers that are returning from Afghanistan and Iraq, and the desperate need for them and their family to receive these services. I think Camp Better America is going to provide an immeasurable service to these families.
I say I'd never heard about it before, and I'm so excited that Donna invited me to come here today, and I will tell people. It's just great.
More people have to know about this, and we're happy to help spread the word.
Man, Camp Better America, what a night tonight. I've never felt anything like this before. I mean, as a veteran, as a Marine veteran from Desert Shield, Desert Storm, I mean, what a great organization. I had to leave my family and come back, and there was nobody here like this. And now they're here to serve, to take care of our veterans. This is an unbelievable cause, an unbelievable event. I mean, tonight was just a great place to be and be a part of this. And now that I found out about it, I'm going to be more involved, give more money.